Hello and welcome to another episode of Balls and Brew, the flagship sports podcast of the Morgan You Know Podcast Network. I am your host of all podcasts around here on the Morgan You Know Podcast Network. How convenient for me. I am Rod Morgan, and joining me, as I believe they will for the next, 17, 18, 19, 20 weeks for what some call the most glorious time of the year. Football season is upon us. So that means joining me from North Carolina, Chris King. Chris, hello.
Hello, Internet. Hey, Rod. How's it going?
And you notice I was a little lower energy for that because, Chris, I love that you're always riding with me, and I know that you're my wingman. But people really want to hear from one person and one person only when football season rolls around.
That's true.
And that is we formerly knew him as the Anonymous Gambler. Now he is just our full-blown handicapper / NFL expert, Josh Williams. Mr. Williams, hello.
What's up, boys? It is football season. I'm super pumped. Best time of the year. September is my favorite month. We got Blueberry Festival right around the corner. Your old neck of the woods. We got some football ready to kick off. I'm ready, man. Let's go.
Look at you just pandering to me right from the start, throwing to the Blueberry Festival. I absolutely love it. But I wanted to get a quick question from you here, Mr. Williams. Are you a little like you're not quite fully there because there's no NFL games this weekend and you can only bet on college games?
No, man, this is my favorite week of the year. It's my favorite holiday of the year. I'm taking the next I got 6 days off here. Gonna research some football, play a little poker. We got my fantasy football draft on Friday night. We got Blueberry on Sunday. We got Notre Dame Sunday night. We got Clemson Georgia Saturday night. It's fantastic. And then we got NFL the following week. So it's great.
He is absolutely fired up. And I am fired up to help us talk about the college football season. We're going to hear from a few different fan bases in the rest of this episode. We're going to do a check-in in Browns camp. We're going to do a check-in on what the Chiefs are up to. We're going to do our annual touch-in with the boys from the region about the Bears. We're going to get some Packers talk from Derek. We're even going to let Chris talk about the Cowboys at one point. But we needed a little bit of help to talk college football. So I couldn't think of anybody better than somebody who originally hails from the state of Texas, but now he comes at us from lovely Granger, Indiana. He is one Wes Conley. Wes, hello.
Hello, the Morgan that I know.
Hey, I want to start out, first of all, by saying Texas forever, and second, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for having me on here.
All right. Well, college football, every time I run into you, we usually have a barley pop or two, and college football tends to be something that you talk about. So when I knew we had college to look forward to this weekend, we needed to preview a little bit of college. I said, okay, let's get Wes on here and let's get his takes. So the floor is yours. Who is going to walk away with the national championship in college football next season? Right there. Boom. We're coming out of the gates hot.
Wow. Smoking hot. It's a freaking cannon fired right at me. I hate to choose the usual suspects here, but it's going to be a Clemson-Alabama battle, and I'm going to go with Clemson this year because after watching their true freshman DJ Uiagalelei, which I pronounced that perfectly right now.
Nice.
The kid is going to step in right where Trevor Lawrence left off, and they're going to have a very good offense and an even better defense. So I'm going to say Clemson's going to win the national title this year. So it's not going to be much of a change of pace. Clemson, Alabama every other year. It's kind of how it's gone. So
I was going to say, well, that's great. And Mr. King, that doesn't bode well for your Big Ten, but I'm sure you probably have some sort of Big Ten take you'd like to give everybody right here.
Yeah. Ohio State, of course, is still the creme de la creme of the Big Ten. There's no denying that. I am excited for my Hoosiers this year. I think we can give some teams a run for their money and get to another bowl game. I think Clemson does have probably a good chance. They will definitely get to the playoff even if they lose against Georgia in week 1. And that's going to be a tough game. Georgia's got a strong offense and a strong defense, and they got a lot of starters back from last year, so Clemson has their hands full right off the bat. But I think Ohio State is actually going to win the national championship this year.
Okay. That's great. Is there a question formed around how you think Ohio State is going to win the championship? Anything there?
It's more of a theory, I guess. Maybe is in the past you really need good receivers, good quarterback play, and I don't think anybody in the country has better receivers than Ohio State. And I feel that good offense, throwing offense, is what's going to win the national championship. And I guess I want to know if everybody agrees.
All right, there we go. I was gonna say, let's go to we'll go to Mr. Williams here real quick. Mr. Williams, I know you got a few nuggets early on in the season here for college football. Any of your nuggets touch on anything Big Ten related or the Clemson pick that we got from our new guest Wes?
Yeah, I agree with both of these guys. It's looking like Clemson and Bama again. Clemson has a top 2 defensive line. They have a top 2 secondary, and they have a number 1 linebacking core. And Bama is right there with them. Bama has the 3rd best defensive line, 2nd best linebacking core, and very best secondary in the nation. Based on a few publications that I've researched. But yeah, it's like the same old teams, college football. Georgia, Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma. There's a few sharps out there that are saying that Oklahoma has their best team this year, has their best defense that we've seen.
Well, everybody loves that coach, right? I mean, that's got to be some of it, right?
Yep. Yeah, so we'll see there. And then I've heard a few sharps saying that this is the best Georgia team that we've seen in the last 10 or 15 years. So it's so tough to handicap college football because there's no preseason. You don't know who's coming back and how these teams are going to play out. And usually these teams don't play each other early in the year. That's why it's great to see Georgia take on Clemson early. We got Bama playing Miami early. So it's good to see some big games, powerhouse games. The Big Ten, with what Chris was saying, the Big Ten's got like 3 real good games to start off this weekend. Actually, Thursday night, Ohio State travels to Minnesota. And then 2 games on Saturday. All 4 teams are in the top 20. Penn State against Wisconsin, and then IU at Iowa. So, yeah, the Big Ten's starting off strong. So it's a pleasant surprise for a college football fan to see these big games early. I wish college football would be more like college basketball. They would embrace that more, where you'd see a lot of
shocking
top
out of
top
you,
games.
Mr.
Yes.
I love the tournament. Shocking
I love
to hear
the
you.
Tournament. Love the Maui Invitational. Love Big Ten ACC Championship. College basketball, those teams aren't afraid to play each other, and it seems like college football they are. But
well, I don't know. I mean, listen, if the handshake agreement that all of these conferences just put together is to be believed, we're going to see more of this in the future. Wes, let me ask you, we just heard an awful lot about the Big Ten there. How much did you factor in the strength of the Big Ten, who might come out of the Big Ten on top in your factoring of Bama Clemson?
Well, Ohio State, and it's been for 5-6 years now, they've got a cakewalk through the Big Ten, in my opinion. So they're gonna roll through that conference, no matter who is at quarterback. Even if it's a C.J. Stroud who's only has he even thrown an attempt this year?
I'd imagine not.
Yeah, he's played 3 games. He's got 0 attempts. He's ran the ball once for 48 yards and a touchdown, and that is it. He's got a lot of receivers, clearly. Brian Hartline's been bringing in every single top-tier receiver in every recruiting class, but can that unexperienced kid really – can he make a difference in a playoff game against Alabama or Clemson? I don't know. That's where I draw the line there, that the experience at the quarterback position is what divides those 3 teams, because Clemson, Alabama, and Ohio State, I mean, they are the cream of the crop, those 3. And I just think DJ Uyungale's 1 game against Notre Dame was more experienced than Alabama's quarterback and Ohio State's quarterback combined. So
I'm so glad that you know how to pronounce his name, because I don't think anybody else here does.
No, there's no way I would have been able to. But Chris, he did sort of shots fired at your Hoosiers there, right? In the nicest way possible, because Wes is a nice guy like that. But I mean, so then you tell us, how do your Hoosiers upend the power structure of the Big Ten that is Ohio State and become sleeper?
Michael Penix Jr. That's the key right there. And listen, our defense is actually a legit Big Ten defense now, and that helps. But if we want to upend Ohio State and beat Penn State and beat Iowa, I mean, we got some tough games. We need Michael Penix Jr. to play a Heisman type year, and that's what it's going to take.
All right. So, I mean, the last time somebody from Indiana was in the running for the Heisman was what, Antoine Randall L., and then before that it was what, Anthony Thomas?
Anthony Thompson.
Or Thompson, excuse me. Yeah, excuse me. I'm not as up on my Hoosier lore as you are. you fit quite well into that box.
I've been around.
Yeah. So, Mr. Williams, all right, so let me ask you this. Did you see anywhere, is there literally an odds on a bet you can make for what conferences are going to end up in the playoff? Is there anything like that? I mean, is it two SEC schools, independent, Big Ten? Are there any kind of odds like that? Did you see that anywhere?
It's mostly just conference winner, division. You can separate it into division winner, whereas Clemson is like minus 2,000 for the Atlantic Division winner. That's pretty much a given. To make the playoffs, you can bet on that too, with certain teams.
Okay, well then let's transition to what else we want to talk with Wes about here. What's the odds for our beloved Irish, our hometown, our backyard Irish?
Our odds. I don't really know how to set odds. I'm not.
No,
much
Mr.
of a-
Williams.
Yeah.
I wondered if you had those.
Oh.
Mr. Williams, I wondered if you had those.
Yeah, it's minus 1,400 on the no, plus 700 on the yes.
Okay, there you go. So that gives Notre Dame an outside shot because from what I hear driving home today on Sports Radio 960 AM, which is basically Notre Dame football all the time, sports talk radio here in South Bend, Mishawaka, they say they classify Notre Dame's schedule as not very difficult at all, but 4 games that are probably going to make or break it. Wes, do you see it that way?
Yeah, I see it that way completely. I mean, it's an unproven team. Transfer quarterback. He had a good year at Wisconsin.
Is his name Jack Cohen or Jack Cohen?
Cohen, I think. Coan. I've heard mixed pronunciations. But,
All right, well, we should probably get on this before he actually plays on Sunday.
But yeah, I mean, you got a grad transfer quarterback. Your potential number 1 receiver has virtually been injured his entire Notre Dame career. You lost 4 starters on the offensive line. The defense will be solid, I think, even with a brand new defensive coordinator, who is a great defensive coordinator in my opinion. But they still have 4 games. That's, let's say, Cincinnati, USC, North Carolina, and Wisconsin. Those ones are all kind of toss-ups until we kind of know what this team has. If they can stretch the field a little bit, which Jack Cohn's a pocket passer, if he can stick back there a little bit and not scramble and make some passes, we'll see. Week 1 will be really telling.
And they play the Badgers week 1, don't they? No, it's Florida State. That's right.
Tallahassee.
Tallahassee, that's right. On Sunday, a wild Sunday game. That's right. They play a Sunday night game over Labor Day weekend, don't they? All right, well, tell us who's a big – now, I guess my thought would be Notre Dame is big for their tight end. So you talk about how there might – there's catches that they're sketchy at wide receiver, but isn't what's his name, Michael Mayer? Isn't he probably actually going to be the number 1 target for whatever quarterback, and we're probably going to be looking to run the ball because that's what Brian Kelly offenses actually do?
Yeah, absolutely. Michael Mayer he's still an unknown commodity, like to most of the nation. As a Notre Dame fan and people in the Midwest, we know who he is at this point. The kid's from Kentucky, so everybody in Kentucky knows who he is. But
we're not going to hold that against him.
Yeah, he's going to have 50, 60 catches this year, and pending an injury, that's going to happen. He'll be there. I think he'll be their number 1 receptions. Maybe not yardage because tight ends don't go for 1,000, but if Kevin Austin stays healthy, he's got the talent and the skill set to possibly surpass him in receptions and yardage, but that's yet to be determined. So,
all right. Well, sounds like you're sort of positive on the Irish, but there's just too many questions for you to be, sitting here guaranteeing everybody that we're going to walk right back into the national championship Final Four.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to watch them for a couple of weeks. I'm a realistic Notre Dame homer. I'm not a homer. All right, I got to see what's going to happen for
my kind of guy.
Weeks. Yeah, I don't lose sleep over a Notre Dame loss, but I am a diehard.
Do you think they'll still get 10 wins this year and keep that streak alive?
Yeah, they can go 2-2 in those 4 games that matter, and then still be 10-2. So, I mean, listen, Brian Kelly, as much as I give him guff around here, Williams, does that sound like me giving Brian Kelly a bunch of guff on this podcast? I never do that, do I?
For sure. And I've got something that might sour your taste on Notre Dame this year with the schedule, and I hate it.
Well, whoever gets more sour on Notre Dame than me, come on. I usually start there, but I'm still intrigued in this.
Yeah, so Notre Dame actually got really screwed on the schedule this year, and here's why. 6 of the teams that they are playing this year are coming off their bye when they play Notre Dame.
Oh, no.
And those 6 just so happen to be Wisconsin, Cincinnati, USC, North Carolina. 4 of those 6. And then the other 2 are the 2 road games in the state of Virginia. So you're really up against it. And
5 of those games are in a row as well.
Right. And to be fair, Notre Dame does have the bye before the USC game, so that's kind of a wash. But still, that's not ideal. Teams already get up to play Notre Dame, and now you're giving them 2 weeks to play us. It's not ideal at all.
I love that. Do you have any thoughts on their opening game? This is going to come out for the people on Friday of Labor Day weekend. Do you have any thoughts on that game on Sunday?
Yeah, Notre Dame's favored by 7.5 at Florida State. Everything that I've heard, Florida State is they don't have much this year, so I don't really. I hope I'm not jinxing myself, but I feel like Notre Dame should handle them relatively easy. But it is only 7.5. I guess it is a true road game, but this is why college football is so tough. Is just you got to see a few games before you get the sense of how these teams are going to flow in the regular season. So I feel like they should win at Florida State though.
And I would imagine there will be a quite a rousing tribute to Bobby Bowden probably at that game now as well, being that that's a Florida State home game, and he just recently passed away, right, Chris?
Yeah, no, I'm sure they'll have something going on for him. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, have they named the field after him yet or something?
Well, I mean, it's been pretty recently, but that could be something definitely in the works.
Yeah.
All right, we are back. Let's. This is our chance because next week we're going to be diving into just getting the picks right. We're going to make Williams pick games every week. We're going to keep track of his record. I'm going to badger him all year long as if I know anything about picking these games, half of what he does, and we just do it all for fun and hopefully to help you out there. We're not telling you have to follow Williams' picks and you're going to make money, but if you want to hear some information from somebody, who's done this a little bit, who's been there, can talk to you about why he's making his decisions, it's accessible to you. That's what this is all about. But we want to get some futures, some division winners, some season-long stuff, all that kind of stuff in. Does that sound good, Mr. Williams? I'm just going to open the floor to you. The NFL bets are wide open to you right now. What's the most intriguing thing on the board?
Yeah, man, and I'm a sucker for some good future bets. I've had some success in the past with them. I think I said last podcast where I was on Washington, the WFTs plus 275 to win their division. It's down to plus 200 now, so I'm getting some CLV there, some closing line value. I know Chris doesn't want to hear that, but it's not that I'm totally 100% in on Washington winning the division. I think it's like 50-50 between them and Dallas. So if I'm going to get plus odds and even plus 275, I'm all over that. I also like San Fran plus 180 to win the West. Pick them to get to the Super Bowl. They had terrible, terrible injury luck the last 2 years. Like, this is an actual stat. This isn't an opinion stat. This is an actual stat that injury luck the last 2 years by far the worst in the NFL. So you get Trey Lance in there. You get Jimmy Garoppolo. You got Kyle Shanahan calling plays. You got Debo healthy, Ayuk healthy, George Kittle healthy. That defense is still top notch. I like San Fran in the West plus odds.
All right, so you're leaning into Kyle Shanahan, and I like that as well. I do, but do you worry any about their quarterback situation, or do you think it's been pretty well decided that both of these quarterbacks are going to be on the roster all year long, and they'll figure out some way to coexist?
I think he was just messing with everybody in that last preseason game with the high schooling. One guy comes in, one guy comes out. He was just messing with everybody. He is going to have some packages for Lance, I'm imagining. And Lance just isn't quite there yet. He's super raw, but you could tell how just uber athletic this kid is. And so he will get some run later on in the year. I think it's Jimmy's job for the first month or so, or maybe even longer. If that's another thing. San Fran has the easiest schedule in the league this year.
That's that weird quirk of the NFL, though, right? They were disappointing last year, so they finished, got a pretty high draft pick. You know what I mean? Now they got an easy schedule. That's that weird quirk of the NFL for sure. I like that. That's good stuff right there. I like the Washington football team a lot. But as you said, the other member of this podcast with us right now, he might not like hearing that. So, Chris, throw some water on the Washington football team winning the East.
Dallas's offense is legit as long as they stay healthy. But no one else in that division has a chance.
Is your quarterback even healthy right now? Can we even answer that question?
Yeah, he is. He's practicing with the team. He's already in full practice mode. Everyone will find out when they watch Hard Knocks this week. So, he's back. He's ready to go.
Have you been enjoying some Hard Knocks? Seeing your team on there, by the way, we haven't spoken about this.
It's been pretty good. They've done a good job this year.
All right. Do you have any futures? Because you're known to be able to speak Williams' language a little more than me sometimes. Do you have any futures on the board that you're liking now that we're still technically ahead of the season here?
So, as far as betting goes, Williams is correct that the smart bet would probably be on Washington because you're getting that plus two. What do you say? 225 or 250 or 280? I think he said now.
He said 275. Now down to just 2.
Right.
Okay. So, in that kind of sense, I think the Colts are a good bet because I think they're plus 220 or 200 for the AFC South.
Why are you doing this to me?
It's down to plus 150 right now.
Yeah. So I think that is where some good money could be spent. The 49ers could probably win that division over the Rams, but there's not a whole lot of divisions that are up for grabs. I mean, maybe you could put some money down on the Browns because I think they're getting some good money. If the Ravens falter at all, the Browns are still really good. But past that, I mean, you pretty much know who's going to win the other divisions. You know the Chiefs are going to win theirs. You know the Bills are going to win theirs. You know that the Bucks will win theirs. So there's not too many up for grabs.
I'm not going to talk to you about the Colts right now. We're going to welcome a dear old friend of ours, the Golden Voice, John Cruz, for a little bit of a Colts segment here later on in this episode. So I'm not going to talk about the Colts yet, but I cannot believe you just came on here and said put money on the Colts to win the AFC South. That's just, I understand that Jacksonville is not supposed to be good, but I have a weird feeling about Jacksonville. Mr. Williams, what are your thoughts on the Jaguars? I just kind of have a weird feeling that maybe we might see a little more out of them than people expect.
Nah.
All right. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Listen, I have none of the stats that you have. You know that, right? But what I would just say is Urban Meyer has proven himself that he's won at every level. Now, those levels are different than the NFL. I also understand that, but I also get what I've heard from a lot of smart minds over the years, including your guy, Mr. Shanahan, that the NFL game and the college game are as close as they've ever been. I just wonder if all of those factors might boil up into Jacksonville being a little bit better, but that's all right. So what do you think about the AFC South?
Yeah, and listen, I had the same thoughts as you coming in because I was a big Urban Meyer fan in college. And what I've seen so far is it's going to take time for that team, for him to adjust to the NFL game and for that team to get good. And I know it's preseason, but he looked like he already wanted to quit on that Monday night game against the Saints. That offensive line is brutal. They just lost Travis Etienne for the year. Trevor's he's going to be awesome, but this is going to be a learning year for him. And even if let's say Jacksonville improves by 5 wins, that's a huge improvement. That's 6 wins for them. That'll be 6-11 on the year. So I think that's kind of where they sit right now because they get to play Houston twice a year. But yeah, I think it's 50-50 between the Colts and the Titans. And like I said, last time I was on, I think the time to bet the Colts to win the division is after the first 5 games. I know Wentz is projected now to start week 1, but it's still a really tough schedule.
Yeah, dude, I think they're going to be 1-4. I just smell 1-4.
And then, the Titans from week 6 to week 10 play a ridiculously tough schedule. So I think after week 5 is when you're going to get the best odds on the Colts, and I think that's when I'm going to jump in. But I'm going to take a look at and see what I like about or what I'm seeing with Tennessee and the Colts there. I think it's a 50-50 chance, a race right there with those two teams.
We'll get your Super Bowl pick, and as far as maybe a team who made the playoffs last year that isn't going to make it next year. But before we get there, real quick, do you got any player prop futures? Right? Any over touchdowns or yards or anything like that you're liking?
Yeah, I've actually got Joe Burrow 25-1 to lead the league in passing yards. And here's the thing. I know that their offensive line is not going to be that great, but they're going to be behind in a lot of games. And now they have Jamar Chase, who is off the charts, athletic at the wide receiver position. They still have T. Higgins, and they still have Tyler Boyd in the slot. Those are three really good receivers. And then you have Joe Mixon, if he stays healthy, one of the best pass catchers out of the backfield. And really, people think that, you should probably take a quarterback on a good team, on a really good team, to lead the league in passing. But the historical trends say no. Where you want to look at for QBs to lead the league in passing are that those teams that win like 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 games, because those teams are just good enough to keep the teams in the games, and they're going to be passing a lot of the majority of the games. Also, Cincinnati is a fast-paced team. I don't really love Zach Taylor's head coaching regimen. Like, he's not a great head coach, but one thing he does do well is he does speed up offensive play calling. They were one of the fastest tempo teams last year. So I know it's a long shot, but I think Joe Burrow can do it 25-1 to lead the league in passing.
I like it because I seem to have a memory of like Stafford leading the league in passing one year on those terrible Lions teams, right? Like Jameis. I was in love with Jameis a couple years ago on that bad Bucks team because he was just lighting it up, throwing for a boatload of yards. So I like that. That doesn't sound crazy to me. What about any other player props, or should we start moving on to playoffs and Super Bowl picks?
Yeah, we can go on to maybe just like who wins the division. Or I do have a Cowboys stat for Chris that he's not going to like for Week 1. Over the past 20 years, teams that have gone winless in the preseason are 12-17-1 in Week 1. The Cowboys went winless in the preseason, and now they have to face the Super Bowl champs on the road.
Yeah, okay, but like, let's be honest here. Like, none of the starters, like our big three, did not play at all. I mean, Cooper played a little bit, but like not much, and they didn't put Zeke out there, and definitely not Dak. So like,
I love that you said Zeke, because let's go there. Do you still have a big three? Is Zeke still really anything? Or, yeah. I mean, is he like so many running backs who had a couple of years that we should worry about, and now he's just a little overpaid?
I actually think he's in better shape than he's ever been as an NFL back this year.
All right. We're talking like Edgerrin James type shape, right? Like just chiseled? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah. Like, he slimmed down and chiseled up. He's definitely in better shape than he has been since
like he could join like the Fast and the Furious crew, like looking completely ripped up, like he'd be ready to join Dom Toretto and guys.
Yeah, he's ready.
Shout out to our Fast and the Furious pod, by the way. A couple of pods behind this one. If you haven't listened to it, it's good stuff. Chris joins me on that one.
Yeah, so I think that Week 1 matchup is going to be telling about the rest of the Cowboys season, and I actually think that they'll beat Tampa Bay.
That's crazy talk, dude. What are you talking about? Come on. Tom Brady's going to come out and win Week 1 because that's when he's going to feel his best, right? I mean, he's going to feel his best and really be ready to go there.
No,
then he's going to get a little creaky in the middle of the season just like he did last year. Then he's going to play his best at the end of the year.
He always plays his best at the end of the year. He always has a spot, especially the last like 5, 6, 7 years. And it's usually at the early part of the season where people are like, well, maybe this is the year that Tom gets old. You know, how many years have we been saying that after like week 1 or 2?
Listen, I'm not saying it. I'm taking the same stance with Tom Brady that I take with LeBron James whenever we talk NBA. I'm not going to be trying to be at the front of the bus of this is the year Tom Brady finally doesn't have it. Just like I'm not going to be at the guy at the front of the bus saying this is the year LeBron doesn't have it.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to say that I don't think he's going to have it enough on week 1.
Well, you did just say it, though, didn't you? I mean, I know you tried to qualify it there, but you did just say it, didn't you?
I'm just saying that I think the Cowboys are going to beat the Bucs in week 1.
All right, I love it. Listen, all the smoke, we're here for it. All right, Mr. Williams, let's start in the AFC then. Let's get your picks to win the divisions in the AFC.
To win the division, I'll go Cleveland in the North.
All right,
and they're actually plus 155 right now.
Okay.
I'll go KC in the West. That's pretty easy, I think.
What's the Chargers number right now, though? I like the Chargers are that team that always looks sort of sexy in the beginning of the year, and they're doing it again to me this year. I think it's just those darn uniforms that can look so great at times.
Yeah, I think they're plus 400. So they're. I mean, I think they're
I'm telling
second in
you,
the division.
if I was a futures guy, right? Like Kansas City has made it to the Super Bowl 2 straight years. Okay, sure the NFL has the Buffalo Bills thing we can lean on, but other than that, we don't see a whole lot of teams recently making the Super Bowl that often in a row. So I don't know, man. I could just see something crazy happening with KC, and if it was the Chargers that swooped in there, I'd like them a little bit better, and I like Teddy Two Gloves in Denver. But I know you're a Denver guy.
Yeah, Chargers are plus 450. I think I'm going to take Buffalo. I know it's
Oh, I love Josh Allen. You know me. I love some Josh Allen. He's the anchor of my fantasy team. I hope for big things out of Josh Allen this year.
yeah. I mean, they're right there with Kansas City, probably 1-2 power ratings in the AFC. And then I'm gonna go Colts in the South plus 150.
Ugh.
Yep.
Williams, you're killing yourself.
But I'm gonna wait to bet that.
All right, Chris, let's go. How about we'll get your picks on record here, and we'll get my picks on record here too. People can laugh at us. Who do you got in the AFC North, Chris?
AFC North, I actually have Baltimore. I think
Ravens.
Lamar Jackson's just about the most exciting player in football right now.
Look out. How about the AFC West?
AFC West, that's going to be the Chiefs, of course.
Okay. How about the AFC East?
Bills.
Okay. You're not getting interesting there, but you did say the Ravens. How about the AFC South?
And the Colts.
Look at that. All right. I will start in the AFC South, and I will gladly take the Tennessee Titans, trying to do the reverse jinx. Shout out to my guy Bill Simmons right there. I will gladly take the Tennessee Titans to win the AFC South. I will take the Steelers to win the NFC North. Ben Roethlisberger's won last year in the sun. I'm going to take my Chargers because why not? Nobody goes to me for gambling advice anyway. And I'm going to take the Bills, though, because I need Josh Allen to be good. So I like the symmetry of all three of us liking the Bills. All right, let's go out to the NFC. Mr. Williams, who do you like winning the divisions in the NFC?
You want wild card in the AFC? Or you just
we'll get to the wild card. Let's
Okay.
get the division winners out of the way.
NFC, I already gave out Washington.
You did,
I got
that's
those
true.
at plus 275. I think Tampa plays an easier schedule than they did last year. They returned every starter from a Super Bowl team. I think that's the first time since 93 that's happened, maybe 94.
Yeah, it's crazy how all those guys just line back up. That's true.
So that's minus 200 there. No real value there.
But you are taking the Bucks, though.
I'll
You
take
don't
it. You
don't
take
like
the
a surprise attack out of Jameis having another season where he has that many touchdowns but far less interceptions.
I do have a surprise in the wild card. We'll get to that from that division.
Nice.
But, and I'll take obviously I take San Fran plus 180. Here is my twist here, my upset pick. I'm going to take the Vikings to win the North plus 250.
Ew. How many times will Kirk Cousins be out for 10 days?
Yeah, and that's the thing is that I know that's a COVID joke, but Cousins was 7th in expected points added with no pressure last year. He was also 7th in expected points added versus pressure last year. An expected completion percentage, Cousins was 4th highest in the league, believe it or not. And Zimmer at home, 35-15 straight up. We have to remember the Vikings have one of the best home field advantages in all of NFL. They're going to get those fans back this year. And
I love me some Mike Zimmer. He basically just went, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore recently in one of his post-game pressers there or one of his press conferences. It was incredible. I love me some Mike Zimmer.
yeah, I mean, last year without the fans, they were 3-5. The Vikings get 5 defensive opt-outs from last year back. Their secondary in full is back. Their O-line is better, and their schedule is easier than last year. Go over to the Packers. The Packers faced the 11th easiest schedule last year. This year they faced the 3rd toughest schedule. Digging a little deeper, the Packers faced the 6th easiest pass defense schedule last year. This year it's the 3rd toughest. And the Pack lost one of the best centers in the league in free agency in Corey Linsley. He's now with the Chargers, and they're replacing him with a rookie. And then they lost their left tackle, David Bakhtiari, the best pass blocking offensive tackle in the league. They just had to put him on the PUP list, so he'll be out 6 weeks. Why is this important? They didn't do anything to improve their pass rush either, but that's a whole different thing. Why is this important? Their schedule this year At New Orleans, top 10 pressure rate. At San Fran, top 10 pressure rate. Versus Pittsburgh, one of the very best pressure blitzing defenses in the league. At Chicago, top 10 pressure rate last year when Mack and Hicks were healthy. Versus Washington, in my opinion, the sickest defensive line in the game, led by Chase Young. At Arizona, Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt, hello. At KC, Chris Jones creates pressure up the middle at a top 5 pace. At Minnesota, Zimmer gets 5 defensive key players back from last year. Versus the Rams, anybody hear of Aaron Donald? Versus Chicago again. At Baltimore, highest blitz rate in the league. Versus Cleveland, Myles Garrett is a sack machine. And then versus Minnesota again. That's 13 games out of 16 that they're going to face constant pressure.
That's brutal, man.
Off that offensive line. That's why I'm taking the Vikings to win the division plus 250.
I know. I also like what you're doing there because enough people that listen to this podcast know where your true heart lies in that division, and I like what you're doing there. You didn't even mention their name because you're not trying to throw a jinx on them. I appreciate that out of you, Williams. Chris, who do you got in the AFC East, your team's division?
The NFC East, yeah, I got Dallas.
Okay, you got the boys.
Yep.
How about in the NFC South, excuse me?
I'm gonna stick with the Bucks.
All three of us are going Bucks there. I'll tell you guys right now. I'm going with the Washington football team with Williams in the East, and I'm going with the Bucks as well in the South.
And then Williams for the NFC North. Williams just laid out a bunch of good information about why I should not pick this team. But I'm still going to stick with the Packers because they have Aaron Rodgers.
I'm taking the Packers as well. Chris, who are you taking in the NFC West?
In the NFC West, I'm going to take Seattle.
I'm taking Seattle as well. This is incredibly terrible that Chris and I have 3 of the same picks.
I'm just saying they got the fans back now, and that is something that is more
let
important
Russell
to
Wilson
Seattle.
cook, all right?
Yeah.
Will we let Russell Wilson cook, please? We shuffled another offensive coordinator out of there, Mr. Williams. You hate the Seahawks. We got to be crazy talking this, right?
No. I do not hate the Seahawks. I actually love Russell Wilson. I hated Brian Schottenheimer, and more so, I hated Pete Carroll for not letting Brian Schottenheimer let Russ cook because in the first like 6 weeks last year, Russ was cooking.
So is that who you worry about for your San Fran pick the most, or do you think that actually it's Arizona we should all be worried about here?
No, I don't think. I think Arizona has the worst coach in that division by far.
I meant the Rams. Excuse me, the Rams. None of us mentioned the Rams here.
Yeah, the Rams are scary. And listen, like the prognosticators have like all 3 of those teams right about 10 and a half, maybe 11 wins. So it's going to be close. I actually agree with you guys. I think Seattle gets into the wild card. They could easily win the division also.
Okay, let's do wild cards in the NFC then since we're there.
Yeah, I like their new offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. He came over from the Rams as a pass coordinator. For the love of God, let Russ cook. Please. Will you let him cook? And they stole Gerald Everett from the Rams. Big tight end target. Another red zone guy that Russ can throw to so secondaries aren't doubling DK in the end zone. So I love the upside of Russ this year if Pete Carroll will just get out of the way. Just get out of the way. Let Shane Waldron do his thing and let Russ cook. So I'll take Seattle as a wild card team. I'll take...
Well, here, let's just go one by one. Is that your first wild card team? All right, Chris, who's your first wild card team in the NFC?
He doesn't know he's
It's the Rams. Rams are my first wild card team.
Rams are your first wild card team. That's my first wild card team as well. All right. So then Williams, are you going with them as well as a wild card?
I'm not. I'm going with Green Bay.
Okay. Green Bay, nice. And then who's your third? We'll just do it that way.
Third, I'm going Carolina.
Wow, love that. Tell me more about Carolina.
Listen, I think
the Darnold Assance, huh?
Yeah, I think they have a really easy schedule the first 5 weeks of the year. I think that defense is improved. And I love Matt Rule as a coach and Joe Brady as an offensive coordinator. I actually think Joe Brady is going to be a good candidate to be the Bengals head coach next year when they fire Zach Taylor because Joe Brady was the offensive coordinator at LSU with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. So that fits in nicely with that scenario or with that thought. But yeah, I like Carolina this year, man. Like I thought they fought hard last year. They were in games. They had some bad injury luck. They get McCaffrey back. They have a really good wide receiver core. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and this kid Terrace Marshall, another kid from LSU, big guy in the slot. So Carolina is going to surprise. This is the best weapons that Darnold's ever had. I know everyone craps on Darnold, but I think he's going to get off to a fast start this year with that coaching staff and with those weapons.
All right, I like that. Chris, who are your final 2 wild cards?
49ers.
I'm doing the same thing, actually. So I'm putting all 3 NFC West teams in. So I've got the Rams and the Niners.
Yeah, and then I have the Saints getting in as well.
Man, I can't believe you did that. All right, then
Seriously?
you know what I'm going to do? I'm going the other way then. I'm going the Falcons. I like Arthur Smith. With the Falcons offense, right? I do. Something about it. And I just like – and I'm hedging here that like Tampa just can't be as picture perfect as we all think, right? Like we do this every year, don't we, Mr. Williams? We get here to the NFL season. We think, oh, it's got to be this team versus that team. And very rarely does it ever work out that way. But with that said, who's going to play in the Super Bowl, Mr. Williams?
Wait, we're going to do wait. Did we do AFC wildcards?
Oh, no, we got to do AFC wildcards first. You're right. Excuse me. Go ahead.
I'm taking New England to bounce back. You know, they get basically like 6 guys back on defense from all those opt-outs, and they actually stole Matt Judon from the Ravens. That is a huge get that nobody's talking about. He really helped the Ravens rush defense last year. You put him in the middle of the Patriots defense with Dante Hightower and all those great secondary pieces that New England has. Mac Jones is super accurate. They've got some weapons. They went out and spent some money. They got 2 good tight ends now, Jonnu Smith and Henry from San Diego, or from the Chargers. So yeah, I think Belichick gets it done, gets in the playoffs this year again.
All right, Chris, who's your first wild card team?
I think my first wild card team in the AFC is going to be the Chargers.
Chargers. I like that. Even I like that a lot. I had them win the division, so clearly I like that a lot. That's not. You know what? I can't do that. I'm gonna do the Browns. I'm going nutty in the NFC. I'm going complete chaos style in the AFC. Browns is my first wild card. Mr. Williams, your 2 and 3 wild card.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Ravens for obvious reasons. And then my last, my last wild card, I'm going with the Denver Broncos. Teddy KGB.
Fanny Pack Fangio himself getting it done.
Yep, Teddy KGB, 35-14 against the spread in his career. He's 24-7 as a dog. He's 19-2 against the spread as a road dog. Last year, Bridgewater played the most difficult schedule of pass defenses. He played 11 games versus top 15 pass defenses. This year, Teddy is scheduled to play the number 1 easiest schedule of pass defenses. And listen, Denver had 32 turnovers last year. They were dead last in the league. You can't have Drew Lock out there turning the ball over. Yes, I get it. You know, Teddy doesn't really throw the ball down the field, but he also doesn't turn the ball over. That's why he's against the spread machine. And with that defense, Fangio is creating the 2018 Bears defense. He now has 2 pieces from that defense, Kyle Fuller, and Bryce Callahan. You get Von Miller back healthy, Bradley Chubb on the other end. They have a fantastic secondary, Justin Simmons out there. And I think Denver, this is my bold prediction, Denver's going to win 11 games this year.
Wow. He
Denver's
loves
gonna be
Teddy
in the
Two
playoffs.
Gloves. You did just shout out all those great numbers against the spread right there, though. That was impressive stuff. I like that. I'm not anti-Broncos. You know what I mean? Like they're one of those teams that they organizationally, they're strong. They tend to get things done. I leaned on that with the Steelers, so I like that. Chris, who are your final 2 wild cards?
I have the Browns as my number 2, and then I have the Titans as my number 3.
Titans getting in there, huh? I have the Titans in as well. I have Browns, Titans, and then this is where can I bring myself to pick the team that I despise more than any other?
Titans were your division winner.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. Excuse me. So no, this I'm at the Ravens. Excuse me, the Ravens. So now do I pick the team that I despise the most, or do I pick my team to get in there, or do I think that my team will? This is me tipping my hand, by the way, for the Colts conversation, considering I haven't brought them up yet. I'll pick them for a wild card. That's fine. I'll pick them for a wild card just because I don't want to pick. I don't want to pick. No, I might be forgetting somebody here. No, I think I'm good. I think I'm good with that. Yep, I'm going with that. I'm going Browns, Ravens, Colts, Steelers, Chargers, Bills, Titans. That's who I got. No, wait a minute. I should probably put KC in there somewhere, shouldn't I? I don't think they're going to fall completely out of the playoffs.
I would say you had them as the division winner.
That's what I'll do then. No, I don't have KC as the division winner. So yeah, I'll have KC in over the Colts, and then I'll not pick the Colts to make the playoffs. I feel a lot stronger about that. I think there's a way that the Chargers might be good, but I don't think the KC is going to fall completely. They're not even going to make the playoffs. I think that's chaos. So that's what I'll do. Thank goodness I talked myself out of that before either of you guys said anything. All right, there we go. Browns, Ravens, Chiefs are my wild cards. Chris has Chargers, Browns, Titans. Williams has Pats, Ravens, Broncos. All right, Mr. Williams, your Super Bowl pick.
Yeah, we previewed it last podcast. I'm going with the Al Michaels baseball special, full circle, Cleveland versus San Francisco. Cleveland, Stefanski won Coach of the Year last year. It's very possible Kyle Shanahan wins Coach of the Year this year. They both have awesome offensive lines. They both have great schemes. They both have great running backs and rushing attacks. And they both use misdirection, probably at a top 5 rate out of anybody in the league. And they both have receivers that can break tackles and they can take it to the house. So, and they both have good, improved defenses. Cleveland's going to have a really good defense this year. So I like those two teams. And I know if you're rating the teams in the AFC, you probably go KC 1, Buffalo 2, Cleveland 3, or maybe you would have Cleveland further down than that. But I think Cleveland matches up better with KC and Buffalo than anybody else in the league, because what do you have to do to beat those teams? You have to keep the opposing quarterback off the field, and they know how to do that with their running attack and their misdirection. So I like Cleveland and San Francisco in the Super Bowl.
Love it. Chris, who do you got?
You guys are going to call me all sorts of names for this, but I'm going to pick the Cowboys versus the Chiefs.
I'm just going to call you sad for doing that.
Listen, it's been a while since we've been there, and it's time for us to make this run, and I think this is the best offense we've had since the mid-'90s.
All right. I love it. They got a domer on their offensive line there. They got Mike McCarthy, who might not have a great head on his shoulders as head coach. We'll find out this year for the Cowboys. I'm stalling here because I'm trying to decide who I want to pick to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC. All right. Here's my pick. Bills versus Seahawks. So you can mark that down that there's no chance in hell, right? Cue the Vince McMahon theme song right now. There's no chance in hell that the Bills will be playing the Seahawks, but that's what I got.
I came close to picking the Seahawks because I think they're going to be good this year.
Rod, I think you're trolling me, man, because that like the one game I picked last year, I picked Seattle to win and cover at Buffalo, and they just got housed. They got housed, and I'm like, never again. A Seattle team, I can't take them. So,
I just think that I like narratives, right? I'm big with narratives, being a podcast host, and I think that we heard a lot of noise about Russ Wilson, right? So if Seattle doesn't show up and really put forth an effort this year to make another strong run in the playoffs, I think we're going to start hearing some stuff out of there. So I don't know. We'll see. And I love Josh Allen.
No, yeah,
all right, Mr. Williams, here's the last thing I want to ask you, because I know that you mentioned this. Your fantasy draft is this weekend. We're doing it ahead of time. If you get these two players on your fantasy team, you will be absolutely unstoppable. Who are they?
Oh, man, that's a loaded question. I don't know what to give away here.
All right, position. Give me positions, right? Are running backs still important, or have you switched it away from that?
Yeah, so we play in a super flex league. So, man, with the fourth pick, you could take a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, or a tight end there at the number 4, number 5 pick. So that's what makes it so interesting when you play in that super flex league. Man,
just give me one. Just give me one. If you have your druthers, you can give me one pick. If you lose one pick to your league, kudos to them for listening in and snaking you. But if you've got the top pick in the first round, who are you taking?
Well, the top pick, number 1 pick, I'm going CMC. I mean, I think that's a no-brainer. He comes back. He's going to be in a good environment. He's on the field at like every snap, and especially if you're in a PPR league, we're only in a half PPR league, and he's still number one by far in my book. I won't get him because I have the number 9 pick,
Okay,
so that's okay.
All right, well, then this will be the last question. I'll let you go. I'm going to pin you down more on this because I know you're a huge fantasy guy. So at the number 9, who are you hoping to get? Right? Who are you hoping to get? What do you think? What do you think your tough decision is going to be at 9?
So you can go 2 different ways here. Like if quarterbacks fall, there's a certain quarterback that I think you like that I wouldn't be too opposed to taking at number 9 there. And then, there's also a pretty good wide receiver on his team and a pretty good wide receiver on the defending AFC champs team too, right there at number 9. So there's a lot of different ways you can go too. And I got a sleeper running back for a division winner in the NFC that could possibly be right there. So.
All right.
A lot of different choices. I don't want to give too much away.
I was going to say you were incredibly cagey. I forgot how much it is that you love the fantasy, but you gave folks a couple of little nuggets in there for folks who really want to chop it up and figure out what you're saying. A couple little nuggets in there. Chris, how about you? You'll give away a little bit more here. Who are you hoping to get in your beginning of your fantasy draft?
I need receivers. That's where it's at. Like so I want. I want Amari Cooper. I want Tyreek Hill. I want, who knows? That's where I'm going to go. Right. I need those receivers. I need to have 4 or 5 of them that are all getting over 1,000 yards. Now, if I was doing a snake draft and I had like one of the first 4 picks, then I'm going to go running back. Maybe a Derrick Henry. Someone that's going to be out there every down. Someone that's a proven commodity.
All right. Well, there you go. Shout outs to everybody for their fantasy drafts this weekend. This is going to be a little extra sized Balls and Brew episode for you here. But hey, why not? You got time over the Labor Day weekend. Listen in. Get your football menu in order for the rest of the year. We gave you some NFL futures. We gave you some college thoughts. We will make it back to here next Thursday. And Mr. Williams, you'll be on the hot seat then, starting picks for another year. You're pumped, I know.
Oh, boy, man. Can't wait. Let's go. Week 1.
All right, here we go. So we'll be back at you next Thursday. On the other side of a quick little break here, we will be checking in with Chiefs camp. We will be checking in with Bears camp. We'll be checking in on the Cowboys, the Colts, the Browns, and the Packers. All of those quick check-ins with some of our correspondents who are more fans of those teams than say I am. So they have a little better insight. So we're going to hear from them on the other side. Stay tuned. We are back. We are ready to check in on another training camp here in our NFL Preview Spectacular. And we have a tradition around here at the Morgan, when we are talking Bears, we turn to the region. We turn to Chris and I's dear old friends, our old college roommates on Petty Street back in Muncie, Indiana. Please welcome back to the podcast, Ed, Leon, and Jose. Jose, Ed, hello.
Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome, boys.
The Morgan podcast. It's like our second home.
I know. I appreciate you guys coming on every year ready to talk Bears. I want to take it back in time a little bit at the draft. The Chicago Bears moved up in the draft for the second time in the past, 5 years at this point. But I think the guy they moved up to draft this time, you guys were a little more excited about. So, Ed, you start, and then Jose, take me back to draft day. What was it like?
Well, at that point, I was very disappointed, which I'm used to as a Bears fan. They kind of hyped up the Russell Wilson possibility, and when you sign Andy Dalton, for me, it was a disappointment. So I was in boycott mode, but when they did trade up to get Fields, who is considered 1A at the quarterback, and someone who I think is going to be really good in the NFL, that kind of rejuvenated my faith in the Bears again, to a certain degree. But definitely at the quarterback position, because I think that this is the best quarterback we've had in my lifetime.
Well, I think that's clear. And Jose, you're somebody who always tends to break good on guys, right? You always tend to see the positive in guys. But I wonder if this is maybe the most excited you were for a Bears draft pick in quite a while.
Yes and no, because again, as a diehard Michigan fan, this is an Ohio
I wondered
State
if that
guy.
was going to come up here.
And so, but he is the man, and I can say that by watching this guy. Very excited when he came here. But again, I was excited, but I'd rather take the Green Bay approach. Let this kid sit a year and learn the job, and then we have a quarterback for 15 years. So I was excited, but I knew this whole next year we need Andy Dalton to play good because we don't want to throw this kid too soon.
Isn't Green Bay a little bit different circumstances? Aaron Rodgers was learning from Brett Favre, a Hall of Fame quarterback. Justin Fields doesn't have that option in Chicago.
How dare you? How dare you slander the Red Rifle like that?
Well, he really wasn't learning.
That.
I mean, Brett Favre went on the record telling him it's not my job to teach him, make him ready. So really, Brett wasn't helping him to be a professional.
But you're still watching a Hall of Fame quarterback in practice, in the meetings, and on the field. That's a little bit different than Nick Foles and Andy Dalton.
But, okay, Pat Mahomes sat 15 games. That's a year and a half, same thing. Look what they got. I'd rather follow that formula than throw him in the first year. I'd rather have him sit a year, and then we got a quarterback for the next 10, 12 years. But that formula, the numbers work.
Ed, do you agree with your tag team partner, Jose, there, or on the different side of this argument?
I do, but I believe that for a different reason. I just have no faith yet in our offensive line, and I have no faith yet
on both tackles
in our head coach and our offensive play calling. And for that reason, I don't want to just throw him into the middle of chaos until we get some stuff figured out and get some stability.
I want to stay with that for a second. Let me stay with that for a second, Ed. So do you want to see Nagy fired midway through the season? Do you worry about that stunting his growth any way, shape, or form, or do you not care because you think the structure and the play calling and the head coach philosophy is just so bad at this point?
I am for Nagy being gone yesterday. I am not a Nagy fan. I rode the bandwagon with him. I rode the bandwagon with Mitch, but at the end of the day, he's the one making the play calls. You see him trying to go through Cohen, putting him in the backfield. This short little guy who doesn't weigh anything in the backfield in a single back. He just, to me, hurts the Bears more than helps them. So I just don't have any faith in him, and I've tried to give him faith, put faith in him, and I just don't have it anymore.
Jose, how about you? Do you think that the coaching staff is here if Dalton starts out for a little while and Fields learns? Do you think the coaching staff is here for his success?
Yes. I am on the exact opposite of what my colleague
I love this.
says.
I love this when you two go at it. Let's hear it.
Yeah, because he don't know what he's talking about. We don't have a coaching problem.
You don't want to go there.
We don't have a coaching problem. We have an upper management problem, and that's a big difference.
Now you're speaking my language. Chicago upper management being wrong, Jose?
Horrible. McCaskey, whatever they're doing, they're not doing it right. And we have and this is the problem that we have is our upper management. But back to Coach. Coach is going to be okay. We went to the playoffs 2 out of 3 years with Mitchell Trubisky. Now we got a quarterback that at least is serviceable while the man is on the bench. He's learning how to be a quarterback. I think we're going to be okay. But we do have a problem. Both tackles, right and left, are suspect, and you can't have him in for that either. With the worst schedule, one of the toughest schedules this year, because I do believe we play the AFC North. We got LA Rams off the rip, so that's Aaron Donald and all them guys over there that are ready to just go to town. So we can't throw them in there like that. But I think Coach is going to do something different. And again, I think there was a stat that if we do change. Justin Fields, he's had 2 different coaches in college. If we have this one, and then he changes again, that's 4 for 4, changing coordinators, coaches, and so I think he'll be okay. But again, I'm on the opposite. I think Nagy is one of the reasons why we win because he can out-scheme you with the right guys, and I think we got that.
All right, Chris, I'm going to put you in the middle of an argument like I used to do so often back in Petty Street. Who is right? Is Jose right or is Ed right?
You're going to hate me because I'm going to take the middle of the road.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
Okay,
Just sit back and drink your milk. You win.
Listen, there is an upper management problem. I think it has more to it affects the offense more than it affects the defense. They seem to always have the right personnel on defense year in, year out, just about. Chicago is known for their defense, and they do seem to get that right more times than not. The offense is a completely another story. And I think that's partly to blame for Nagy and his play calling. I'm with Ed on that one. I think that they need to either hand that off to a competent coordinator on offense or get rid of Nagy completely.
Well, I disagree, sir. Can you hear me, Chris?
Yeah.
Look at that. How friendly of a disagreement was that? That's great. Let's go. Let's move on to a few other things about the Bears other than Matt Nagy. Let's try to focus in on this season. So, Mr. Leon, what other factors do you think the Bears can lean upon if it's not the head coach that could make them be a team that surprises you and pushes towards the playoffs and doesn't disappoint you?
The only thing that I think will play into their favor, as it does with any other team, is health. You have to stay healthy. If they can stay healthy, regardless of their deficiencies, I believe they can still be a contender.
A contender
Does
for
that
their
bother you,
division
though?
or the
I was
Super
gonna say-
Bowl?
Yeah, well, but does that bother you, though, Ed? I want to stay with this real quick because I know how much of a Bear fan you really truly are, but you want Nagy to be gone. So what are you ultimately rooting for here? The Bears to be healthy and surprise you, or are you ultimately rooting for them to start out maybe 0-3 and the heat starts getting really turned up on him?
I mean, ultimately, like any fan, I hope that they go undefeated and kill every team. And we're over here yelling, Ditka, you know. But I just don't have that faith anymore with, the evidence and what we've seen on the field.
I love it. He's just so conflicted right now. Jose, how about you? What you now? You I know are a little higher on their chances this year. So what other than the quarterback and the coach do you think the Bears can lean upon?
I'm telling you what, Cole Kmet is going to be the man this year.
Okay,
Mark
now you're
my
speaking my
words.
language. Domer.
Yes, Golden Domer, and he's good. He's legit. If we get some things stirred up, we're going to be okay. But I think he's going to be a top 10 tight end by come the end of the season here, and he'll start to be a threat for us. But him, and again, Allen Robinson is still a killer. Allen Robinson is still going to get 12 to 1,500 yards receiving, so that's going to open up some stuff. But I think surprisingly, I'm going to go with our passing game that's going to help us out.
So in your ideal scenario, Jose, who starts how many number of games? Does Andy Dalton start 17 games? Does Andy Dalton start 12? What's the number, do you think?
Well, I mean, I want him to start the whole season personally, because I want Fields to just learn how this thing works. We don't need to throw him in there this quick. This is a multi-million-dollar investment, and this is where it
do you want
goes
him
back.
to sit the whole entire year like Jordan Love did last year and Foles
Yes.
as your backup, or do you want him to get backup minutes?
I mean, backup minutes is great, but I need you to sit. And this is the difference between great upper management, a.k.a. the Packers, a.k.a. Kansas City. And this is the difference between them and what we have. And they're going to fold to the pressure. We got to get this kid in. No, we need the Red Rifle to do his thing, hopefully make it serviceable. But if not, just if we got to throw Fields in, we throw him in. But hopefully, the Red Rifle does his stuff and is healthy throughout the whole season.
Chris, I like what he said there about pressure because I think that that's really a microcosm of everything that's going to go on with the Bears here, right? I think Fields is going to be under pressure to be the savior all the Bear fans want him to be. Matt Nagy is under pressure to win immediately because he doesn't want to get fired, you know what I mean? And then the Chicago media is under pressure because it's not a split town like it can be with the Cubs and the White Sox. Everybody's a Bear fan. So I think pressure just really sums up the Bears' year this year. So, Chris, what do you think the outlook for the Bears is?
Unfortunately for Jose, I don't think that you have a choice but to play Fields this year if you want to have a chance to make the playoffs. And that's mainly because also what Jose said, their offensive line is horrid. They are, I think, ranked like 30 or 31st in the NFL right now on their O-line. Dalton and Foles will not survive in a pocket with that type of O-line. They'll get beat up and knocked out anyway. You need someone like Fields that's going to be able to expand plays with his feet and make those type of athletic throws, much like you see Mahomes is doing a lot. That there is going to keep Fields on the field. And with him on the field, that's your best chance to make the playoffs.
How dare you just use his name and Pat Mahomes in the same sentence right there? That's not fair to Bear fans at all right there, because they're still hurting from the draft where they could have drafted him and they didn't. They even moved up in the draft and could have drafted him and still didn't draft him. That was so mean of you. So let's move off of you, Chris. Mr. Leon, let's go to you as we round towards the end here of our Bears check-in. Your final word on the Bears season this year, sir. What would you like to leave the Morganino Nation? What nugget do you have as we are wrapping up our Bears talk here?
Well, I gotta tell you, I see Fields taking us all the way to the Super Bowl. Check it. He comes in week 5. Okay. We're 1-4. We end the season undefeated under his reign. You heard it here first. Signed,
I love it.
Ditka.
Signed Ditka. I love it. I love that you did your personal connection to Mike Ditka and you checked in with him for us and you got his take on the podcast. Mr. Leon, thank you so much for that. Jose, my friend, your final word, your bold prediction, however you want to sign off to the Morganino Nation here as we're wrapping up our Bears talk. And once again, I appreciate both of you gentlemen taking time out of your schedule to join us this evening.
No problem, big dog. 2 guys, Cole Clement, watch, and can't wait for our GM to get fired.
There we go. I love it. I'm going to ask one quick question because I didn't hear this guy come up and I was sort of interested in him because I liked what I saw at the end of the year. Is David Montgomery a serviceable fantasy running back?
Absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
But,
you heard it. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Leon.
You have to have some consistency or some production at the offensive line as well as play calling.
All right. Listen, Mr. Leon, I am fascinated to see how this Bear season goes. If you guys will agree to it, I'd love to have you guys back on after a couple of weeks when we see what's happening with the Bears up there because I find it so fascinating that you, A, want Nagy and upper management to be fired, but you can't bring yourself to do anything other than root for the Bears to win. So I just find that absolutely amazing. So I'm interested to see how the season goes, and we will be interested to talk to you gentlemen joining us from the region again very soon.
We'll be here.
Bear down.
All right, we are back, and as we continue to take a trip around this NFL, I am excited about a camp stop we are about to make. I believe I tried to make this happen one year in the past, and lines got crossed as they do, and we could not figure out a time to hook up. So I'm excited to finally bring him on this year. I met him back in the day when I worked for the monolith corporation that is the Best Buy company. Met him the same time I met Dax Storm. It's kind of funny that 2 gentlemen I met while I was working at Best Buy who I don't have great memories about are people I still have fond memories of and like keeping up with it from time to time. Mike Frankowiak is a huge Chiefs fan, and it has been a good time to be a Chiefs fan the last couple of years. So, Mike, let's just start there, man. What's it like having Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback? It's got to be pretty cool.
Man, it is amazing. Even watching that Super Bowl last year, obviously didn't turn out the way I wanted, but some of those throws, where he's looking like Superman parallel to the ground and still hits a receiver 30 yards downfield. It's unbelievable.
So, your Chiefs bona fides, if it will, did you get this from your father? Did you grow up always loving the Chiefs? Was there a certain player that brought you in? What are your Chiefs bona fides that make you the Chiefs fan you are these days?
Yeah, so my dad was actually a Buffalo Bills fan. He grew up in Buffalo. I was getting into sports in the early 90s. That was a bad time to live with a Buffalo Bills fan. So I picked a rival that I could enjoy some games and fell in love with Derek Thomas. And then my first fantasy team, I didn't know what I was doing. I drafted Trent Green, Priest Holmes, Eddie Kennison, and Tony Gonzalez as my first 4 picks, and that worked out pretty well for me.
Trent Green, former IU alum.
It's true. He is.
Chris, I knew you'd be on that. Somehow I knew you'd be on that. Chris, how great is that just a fantasy football handpicking of some of those guys who were good fantasy stars, by the way. There were certain years where Trent Green was going to work out pretty well for you as the quarterback. Did it work out that first year for you? Is that why then you became a Chiefs fan?
It did, yeah. That was a good year. That was freshman year of college, if I recall, when I did that. So nobody thought I was making sense drafting all Chiefs fans, but it was a good team that year with Dick Vermeil.
Nice. All right, so let me ask you this. What do we think is the biggest factor that's going to make the ending of this year for Chiefs fans be a little bit more like it was the year before and not like last year?
Yeah, it's the offensive line. The team it's 5 new starters this year. So left to right, you got Orlando Brown Jr. at left tackle, Joe Tooney at left guard, and then 3 rookies: Creed Humphrey, second-round pick; Trey Smith, a sixth-round pick that could have been a first-round pick but fell because of some medical concerns; and then Lucas Niang at right tackle, who sat out last year because of COVID. He was a third-round pick the year before. But Lucas Niang, he was interviewed. Chase Young was asked about the toughest player he went up against in college, and he said Lucas Niang when he was at Texas Christian. So 5 new starters. That's what kept them from winning last year, was that offensive line.
I thought Tardif was going to be able to play. Is he going to be out the rest of the year, or has he lost the starting role already?
He's lost the starting role. He got hurt early in camp, and then the way Trey Smith's playing, I don't think they'll give that right guard position back to Tardif.
And now they signed Kyle Long too, right? Is he going to play?
He's on the pup. He hurt his back, if I recall, in training camp early on. So he'll be on the pup list to start the season. And maybe play some at right tackle is what they're saying when he comes back.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, he's good with the interviews and stuff. So, I mean, if you've heard him on any Chiefs podcast or anything like that, yeah, man, he's good with the interviews. When he was a Bear, I used to love catching him on Chicago radio. He was a guy who's got some good personality about him.
Yeah, he's a fun guy for sure. Yeah, it's an interesting team too. And you have Orlando Brown Jr. right at 6'8", 350 at left tackle is a pretty big departure from Eric Fisher.
Yeah, Eric Fisher. We as Colt fans, we've got a little.
Oh yeah, you
Eric
guys got
Fisher.
Eric Fisher now. That's
Yeah.
right.
We're down to our third string tackle at this point because he's hurt, and the guy that we was going to have backing up Fisher, he's also hurt. So, but we'll get into that when we talk Colts. Chris, what's the first thing you want to bring up about the Chiefs here?
How bad is it going to be missing Sammy Watkins?
It's an interesting question. I don't think it's going to be too bad just because he never played. Last year I think he was healthy for 7 or 8 games is all, and wasn't 100% in those ones. McCole Hardman's looked pretty good in the preseason, and so you got that speed with Tyreek Hill on one side, Hardman on the other. The X position, that big receiver, is something the team's lacking, but Travis Kelce does most of that. That possession chain mover. Obviously when Watkins was healthy, he was a difference maker, but he missed so many games that I don't think it'll be too big of a loss.
That's why I don't draft him in fantasy. But speaking of Kelce, are you worried that he shaved his beard?
Yeah, that's rough.
I am.
I mean,
I'm worried about that, but I'm being biased there just because I've had my beard now going on 20 years. So come on, Kels, what are we doing?
yeah, you lose that power when you shave. Yeah, that's not going to work out too well. I hope it's fine.
Well, let me ask you one more question about offensive skill players since we're right there. Last year, everybody was in on the running back, and then he was a big disappointment. Now, I know a lot of that had to do with injury, but can we be back in on Clyde Edward-Helaire? Isn't that his name?
It is. I drafted him early. The offensive line's a bunch of power guys now. Trey Smith takes on double teams. I've seen some stuff in the preseason of guard tackle counters that they've never ran because they didn't have the big earth movers in front. So, but they also got Jet McKinnon, who has looked real good in the preseason and is still fast, and he looks healthy again, and that's going to be a good 1-2 punch, I think.
All right, so there we talked about all the things that may work and break right for the Chiefs. If you had to kind of say the X factor, if this also doesn't go well for us, we could be in trouble. What would that be?
It's an injury to one of the 3 big guys, right? If Kelce or Hill or Mahomes gets hurt, they held on to the Browns without Mahomes in the playoffs last year with Chad Henne, but you can't win 10, 12 games with Chad Henne. He can come in and play 1 or 2, and then the offense is just geared around Tyreek Hill, things that he can do that not that many players in the NFL can. So one of those gets hurt, it'll be a rough year, but you can say that about a lot of teams.
Yeah, I was going to say that's definitely an thing on everybody's mind, I'd say, this year, too, with the fact that we got 1 extra game to even try to worry about. So if you manage to get your guys through 16, there's 1 more game that you still got to sneak them through before you even get to the playoffs. So how about that defense? I know that my Colts, I'm going to be leaning all over their defense here early on in the season because I got no idea what to expect out of my quarterback. So what are we expecting out of the Kansas City defense?
It's looked great in the preseason. Chris Jones is playing defensive end. Kind of looks like a young Calais Campbell. He's 6'6". He's slimmed down to about 290 playing end, so he can hold up against the run. But his power is just something most offensive tackles can't can't fathom. And remember the name, if you don't already, L'Jarius Sneed. He was a rookie last year, got hurt, missed some games, but came on at the end of the season, had a lot of interceptions, a couple sacks in the playoffs. And he's looked like a definite number one cornerback so far in the preseason. I wouldn't be surprised if you're talking about him as a top 5 cornerback at the end of the year.
That's the most important position on the defense these days. Did you say L'Jarius or L'Darius?
L'Jarius with a J.
Love that.
Speaking of secondary, are they going to get a contract extension done before the season starts with Matthew?
That doesn't look good, I don't think. I was hoping it would get done before training camp, and then there has been a lot of stuff on social media that doesn't point to him re-signing in Kansas City anytime soon. And then I don't know who it was, Rodney Harrison, I think one of the big name safeties just got or Harrison Smith, excuse me, just got a big contract, and that's probably going to price his way out of Kansas City.
I thought you were breaking news here that Rodney Harrison was coming out of the NBC Sunday Night Show and playing for somebody. I was like, man, Rodney's dusting it off. How about that?
I knew it was a Harrison who played safety.
Now you recovered quickly there with Harrison Smith. I like that. Well, I'd say that's a real good check-in on the Chiefs. Mr. King, you got anything else?
No, it's just if you're a Chiefs fan, like you said, you just got to worry about staying away from the injury bug, especially with the big three, but more importantly with that young offensive line. You want them to get some cohesiveness together, and if one of them or two of them get hurt, then that's going to be up in the air. But it is a good time to be a Chiefs fan. That's for sure.
I say embrace it, right? I remember the 18 days when he was patrolling the sidelines in Indianapolis quite fondly, and so hold on to these days tightly, Mr. Frankowiak. I know that you are. I know you're also located over there in Pittsburgh, and I'm telling you, I think the Steelers are going to be better than people think. So you have comported yourself very well here in your first ever appearance on the podcast. So if you don't mind, maybe we'll have you back on sometime in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fun.
All right. Well, thank you so much for a check-in on the Chiefs, the once-removed Super Bowl champions looking to get back and win 2 out of 3. That was a check-in from our guy, Mike Frankowiak. Thank you so much. We'll be back on the other side with another check-in from another NFL camp. All right, we are back, and it is time for Chris and I to check in on our favorite football team / teams, I guess I have to say, because Chris does try to hold on to some semblance of Cowboys fandom, but he is a Colts fan. So to do that, we have welcomed in an old friend who, and frankly, every time he comes on this podcast, I'm dangerous because I don't like letting people come on the podcast that sound better than me. But John Cruz absolutely is one of those.
Dude, no way.
And we're happy to have him back. John Cruz, thanks for coming back to the podcast.
Thank you, brother. No, hey, good morning. Good morning. It's good to be here, man. Long time. What, 2 years now?
It's been a bit. You know, we had the time apart. Then you took off to Illinois, and I know you've been back, and just schedules haven't gotten back together. But we will make that happen. I promise you. Football season tends to bring people together.
See, senor, doesn't the grass even smell different? You know, the
You
boys
just love
of
it.
fall.
As the fall comes around, exactly. As the
I
fall
love
comes
it.
around. Well, here's my first question for you vis-a-vis the Colts, and I'm going to give you a little bit of credit here. Back when we had Jacoby, you were always a pro Jacoby Brissett guy. You would always tell me that Jacoby Brissett was a real-life NFL starting quarterback, and I'll be darned if I wouldn't rather have Jacoby Brissett right now than what the Colts have going on at quarterback. So I'm going to give you props for that and ask you, what do you feel about the current Colts quarterback situation?
Wow, that's bold. That's interesting. That's a great question right out of the gate. I got to be honest with you, man. I really like Jacob Eason. He's a tall, big, great footwork, hell of an arm. I mean, forget Carson Wentz. I mean, obviously he's going to be the starter, but the future of Indianapolis, dude, I got to say is Jacob Eason.
Wow, you're that high on him, huh? That you
Dude,
think he
look
could be
at
a
him.
multiple-year starter. I've not seen him yet. I got to admit, I didn't catch any of the preseason games. I haven't seen him yet.
Watch his footwork, dude. He's a pro already, and this is his first year.
Christopher, have you seen any of young Eason that Mr. Cruz is speaking so glowingly about here?
I've seen very little, but I am an Eason fan as well.
Bro, yeah. I had no idea until, of course, they drafted him. Got him, what, fourth round? Fourth round, and or something like that. And then there's Sam Ellinger. I mean, he's not as tall, not as long. His balls aren't as accurate, but he's gritty, 6'1", 230, 235, kind of like the kid from Cleveland, who's the quarterback over there.
Oh, Mayfield, huh? He's got
Yeah,
Mayfield
you know
built
what I
to
mean?
him, huh?
Kind of gritty.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe not as accurate on the ball, but no, I mean, I'm a Carson Wentz fan. Go Bison. He's a winner. He's much like Jacob Eason in size, just about, I think he's about, an inch shorter, and has a rocket. He's just been marred by injuries. It's just one of those anomalies in a professional athlete's life that, it's sad. It's like Andrew Luck. It drove him to say, look, I'm going to start writing books. F this.
I'm not sure who that last player you just referenced is. I'm unfamiliar with his work on the football field and for whatever team he used to play for. But
who's that?
Yeah, exactly. The last quarterback you spoke of. I'm not entirely familiar with his work.
Sam Erlinger?
No. The other quarterback that you were talking about, how he's now writing books and injuries marred his career, made him walk away. I'm not entirely familiar with his work. We choose not to talk about him on
the
this particular
sarcasm
podcast.
is now glowing. Yeah, I got you, Roger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We tend not to speak about him on this podcast. But what I
that
would
hits
worry
you
about
hard.
that
hits you hard. I agree. I understand. I can see.
What I would ask you about that is I don't want to discount a guy for injuries, but I would worry about there's a tendency for guys when they start on that injury train, they just continue to board.
You're right.
So I'm a little bit worried about that. And also I worry that we saw a flash in the pan from Wentz and not necessarily his overall traits and his behaviors. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. But I will say this. In Frank Reich I trust, and in Chris Ballard I trust.
Wow,
right?
we're on the same page, bro. Exactly. They know how to put together a football team.
If Chris Ballard drafted Eason, then he must see something in him. And if Chris Ballard okayed the trade and Wright clearly wanted the trade for Wentz, I'm going to say okay. But I'm right here with my Colts more than I ever have been because you know me. Both of you guys know me. I'm not one to sit on the fence. I'm completely on a wait-and-see mode with the Colts right now. I am not comfortable making any kind of prediction whatsoever other than they're going to definitely run the ball really, really well.
Yes. Naeem Hines, welcome back. Jonathan Taylor, been a big fan since Wisconsin. And Marlon Mack is back. What's up? Marlon Mack just takes a licking and keeps on taking.
Yeah, Marlon Mack was supposed to be the featured back last year, and then he got hurt on us, and then that's when we got the great Jonathan Taylor season.
Dude.
Yeah, listen, we've had Marlon Mack for what now, 5 years? And he's never been the feature, but he will always produce for you.
Yep.
Now the Colts have leaned awful heavily on their offensive line in the last couple of years. I know we're a little fluxed in tackle right now, and Quentin Nelson, excuse me, he suffered the same injury as Wentz, but he's back. So I mean that offensive line could pull us through. I certainly know the defense is really, really good, and that's one of your favorite Colts of the moment, leading that squad over there, right, Mr. Cruz?
Dude, Twitty Pay from Michigan they picked up in the offseason?
They like what they see out of him, I hear.
Dude, he's a monster. Defensive end. And then on the other side, they picked up that kid from the Chargers, or rather the Rams. No, the Chargers. What was his name? Played at Notre Dame a few years back. Isaac Rochelle.
Oh, okay.
They picked him up off of waivers. On the other side, plus they re-signed Darius Leonard, the maniac.
Your boy.
I mean, dude, I got his jersey on order. Come on. I'm going to be down there week 2 against the Rams. End zone. Row 28, section, lower level 28, row 28. So, yeah, anywho. I got the whole emotion quotient going. I'm like, my heart's like, man, this is our hometown. It's going to be a dramatic year. Carson's a winner, and if not, Jacob Eason is a monster. And we're going to go to the playoffs. They have, some of the talking heads have us winning the AFC South outright.
It's the easiest division in football. That definitely helps us.
Yeah, and it's about COVID-19. Everyone's got to get this vaccine, and that's just protocols. And that's the only thing I'm worried about, and why I got insurance on my tickets this year is because I don't know what the CDC is going to do. So far, so good, but a lot can change now that there's 4 players on reserve due to COVID. That's Carson Wentz, Quentin Nelson, Pascal, and a couple of others who are on now reserve who don't get to practice because of COVID. So what's going to happen later on in the season? So that's the other thing they have, the dichotomy they have with the season. And we just have to wait and see. And then you got T.Y. Hilton going under the knife yesterday and on his neck.
But that's what T.Y. does. That's what T.Y. does. We had to know that coming into it. I can't believe the Colts re-signed T.Y. Hilton. I'm so ready for him to be gone.
That struck a chord with you, I can tell.
Oh, I mean, they nickname him the Ghost because he's fast, but he's a ghost because he's never on the field the last 3 years. It's ridiculous with this guy. It's ridiculous with this guy. Michael Pittman, though, I like a lot of what I see out of Michael Pittman. Too. So I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic on certain things. But here, Chris, I want to go to you on this. We've done a couple of these now, Chris, and we haven't had any other mention of COVID-19, and it's crazy that it's just now coming up, but that's a definite good call by Mr. Cruz there. There are protocol things that could come into effect for a lot of these teams that we haven't even brought up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I'm interested to see what team and when the first forfeit happens. Because it's bound to the way things are going, and then where do you set the cutoff point? Is it 11 guys? Is it just 5 guys? I mean, do you have to have half the coaching staff out? I mean, where do you set? There's 53 guys.
Well, they made the Broncos play a wide receiver at quarterback last year. I mean, they were pretty hardcore last year.
Broncos would have had to forfeit that game this year.
Wow. Yeah, and then there's the attendance of the crowd, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I can't believe in all of the different things that we've talked about and all of our, prognostications that we've done here for the Big Football Spectacular. We haven't mentioned that before. I made my little joke, I think, about the quarterback up in Minnesota, Kirk Cousins. But frankly, I think the Colts quarterback is in the same boat, and clearly Quentin Nelson's in the same boat. So that's another thing that comes out. You find out which player on your team decided not to get the vaccine when they're out for 10 days.
Yeah, they're all pleading the fifth. It's a personal decision. Well, okay, in a public crisis, and that's the protocol. I don't know. It's all political either way you look at it, but my thing is just getting them healthy.
In the NFL, where it's so much my way or the highway, I just can't believe that these teams haven't had more of an iron fist to get more of these guys to take the vaccine. I mean, and just in such a league where guys are getting every competitive advantage they can, I'm just really surprised to see so many people still unvaccinated.
It's crazy. It's for me, it's been, not to get on that subject, but briefly, it's just about education, understanding, seeing, where it goes, what direction it goes in terms of side effects, et cetera, et cetera. And, just building some confidence with what I'm putting in my body. Not saying, oh, you're a communist and you're, stupid and a sheep I'm not on that tip. But, anywho.
These guys tend to take a lot of different supplements, right? And I'm sure they've taken a lot of different painkillers over the years at times too, I mean, it's just, that's what I mean. In a league where they do so many other things for a competitive advantage, I find it so incredible to believe that if a guy could get a vaccine that's for free and he'd only have to be out for 3 to 4 days and then one that keeps him out for 10 days, just in a league where everybody does everything they can to win at all costs and are basically expected to do everything they can to win at all costs. I'm just surprised to see so many people still in that boat. So ultimately, though, Mr. Cruz, ultimately, we don't need to talk about Cam Newton. He's a former Patriot. We don't need to talk about him. We're trying to talk about Patriots.
I was going to say he walked away from a lot of dough because he didn't want to. So yeah.
Well, Belichick said it had nothing to do with that, but we don't believe anything Belichick says. So whenever he says that something didn't have to do with it, it usually means the opposite. So you're probably right.
I digress.
So I know you tend to be a flowers and sunshine kind of Colts guy.
I do.
But I know you're also still a little anchored in reality. So what do you think your ultimate prediction for the way this year plays out is?
For the Colts, if all this whole protocol stuff, goes down and if we stay consistent throughout the season, I see Indianapolis potentially with their defense alone being a potential, competitor or contender for the AFC South with a 10-6 record. That's maybe one game a little too high, but I say 10-6 and making a run for the AFC
17
South.
Games this year, man.
That's right. You know what? You're right. Just as you said that, I started to think there's 17 games this year. So, yeah, I say 12-5. There.
Wow! Look at that. He goes from 10-6 to
11-5. Well, 11. Let's just say 10-7. 10-7, realistically.
There we go. He stays with the 10 wins.
10-7, realistically.
All right, Chris, let me ask you this. Do you think the Colts could basically have the same record no matter who ends up playing the most at quarterback for them?
I think that they are going to be in the same realm. I think it's going to be anywhere from 8-9 to 11-6. They have a very tough schedule this year.
You nailed it.
And it's going to be tough for them to win. But I think 11-6 wins them the division. I think they only lose one game in the division. I think they split games with Tennessee and they win all the rest of theirs.
We lost to Jacksonville last year.
It's a different team.
We close out with them, too, at Jacksonville. So, yeah, Seattle, L.A., Titans, Dolphins, Ravens, Texans, 49ers, Titans, Jacksonville, then the Bills on the road, and then the Buccaneers at home in November.
See, dude, I'm on the other side of this. This is the year that Colts fans get frustrated with Frank Reich, and we're back looking for a quarterback. That's what I think.
He does make some questionable play calls down the stretch, I have said through the years.
Yeah. He does, because he's kind of Bruce Arians in that way. No risk it, no biscuit, right? So he's always for the risk it, but I don't know. You got to have the quarterback to be able to do it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
When you had Peyton, well, of course he wasn't around for Peyton, but when you had Phillip Rivers, who was a guy who did it at a high level, but his skills were diminished, it's different than having a guy who might not be able to do it at a high level, right? There's just a difference there. There's a trust factor, and there's I'm worried. I'm worried that we're going to see a lot of turnovers out of Wentz, and I'm also worried that even if we don't see a lot of turnovers out of him, we're not going to see great play, or he's not going to be able to be on the field. So I give the Colts, though, a fighting chance of still sneaking into the playoffs just based on organizational talent and head coaching ability.
I think you're going to not see that many turnovers because we're going to be a running team more than a passing team.
I agree.
We're going to be a running team.
Yep.
We're going to have a defense. It's almost like we're an NFC team playing in the AFC.
Interesting.
Well,
yeah, I
see.
agree. Yeah, the run is going to do it. Run the damn ball, as Quentin Nelson used to say on the sidelines. Run the damn ball. Yeah. Bring it up behind me, my big old ass. 6'6", 350 pounds. Come on, lead the way.
If Carson Wentz is going to be half as bad as I think, the Colts are probably going to want to run the ball an awful lot.
We're going to have to with those opponents right out of the gate, man. We're going to have to learn to.
We're going to have to grind it out. The clock, grind it out. Yep.
All right, well, Chris, that was the Colts. We ran a little longer on the Colts than we thought we would, but let's touch base on your Cowboys for just a couple minutes here before we go out. Your ultimate prediction for the Cowboys in Ezekiel Elliott. Okay, is he going to bounce back into form, or is he going to just continue to trail off and the Cowboys still have a great offense, but it doesn't have as much to do with Ezekiel Elliott these days?
He'll have 1,500 total yards between passing and rushing.
Wowza.
Okay. Yeah.
Leading the NFC.
I don't know if it's going to be like 1,500 or 1,200 rushing, 300 passing, but he'll have 1,500 all-purpose yards.
All right.
By the way, Jonathan Taylor ran for 1,100 last year, and he didn't play the whole season.
Yeah, he was a beast. Is Michael Gallup going to sneak up on people and take targets away from CeeDee Lamb, who everybody says is going to be the big breakout this year, Chris?
No. The thing is, Amari Cooper is still going to get the majority of looks, and he's going to be the focal point of defenses because he's a proven commodity. That opens up everything else for Gallup and CeeDee Lamb, and I really think that CeeDee Lamb will probably end up leading the Cowboys in receptions this year.
Really?
Yeah. Just because you're going to have rollover coverage and double coverage on Cooper's side, they'll have Lamb on the other side getting single coverage a lot of times, more times than not, and that's going to open up the whole field for them.
What's their schedule look like?
I was going to say, who are they going to have to beat? Who are they ultimately going to have to come out on top of to win the NFC East?
They have to beat Philadelphia and the Giants twice and then split with the Redskins. If they do that...
Wait, though?
The Washington football team.
Just kidding.
Yeah. So that's where it is. They're going to have to win, 5 of those 6 games.
Oh, wow.
That's going to be tough because it's the NFC East and anything can happen. They also have a tough start to the season with the Bucs and the Chargers right off the bat. Back-to-back weeks on the road. That's going to be tough. They go to the Chiefs and play in the middle of the year.
Oh, wow.
That's a loss. That's a loss.
They go to the Vikings.
That'll be a prime timer.
So they have to play the Cardinals, too. So they got some tough games. I think
the Cardinals coach is going to get fired, so that second Cardinals game will probably be a walkover.
I think if they stay healthy the whole time...
which they will not because no NFL team does.
True.
I think that
Sure
they
was.
will end up losing 4 games, so they'll be 13-4, best case scenario. Worst case scenario,
Oh, wow.
9-8.
And still in the run. And still in the run. That division's always like that.
Absolutely. Well, I think that your team and my team, it was nice that we just kind of grouped them together, and also your team are in the same boat there. We all kind of talked about it. You gotta beat the also rans in your division. You gotta split with the other guy trying to beat you, and then you gotta try to win the majority of your home games and not get blown out too bad on the road, right? I think that's all that these teams are looking to do sometimes in the NFL.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, any last words on the Cowboys before we wrap this segment up and thank Mr. Cruz for his time?
I actually think that they will give a run on most points scored season for a full season. I know this is 17 games, so it's going to be skewed, and you can put an asterisk beside it, but I think they'll score more points than any other team ever has.
Oh, wow.
All right,
That
I like
offense
I
that.
like
that
that.
good.
I don't have anything near as bold. Just go Colts. I mean,
Go Colts.
yeah, and again, just everyone stay healthy and get vaccinated and all that good stuff. And I'm just glad that football's back and we're able to go to games and hopefully we'll talk mid-season about where our teams are. The Cowboys, Colts, Super Bowl, maybe.
Oh,
Hey, that'd be cool. That would be
great.
absolutely cool.
I'm predicting that tonight here on September the 1st at 9:22 Eastern Daylight Time. The Cowboys and the Indianapolis Colts will meet in Super Bowl, what is it, 52? 51? 52.
I have no idea. I
think
never
it's
keep track of
52.
Super Bowl numbers.
52.
So 52 sounds about right.
I have a bold prediction for the Colts and that offensive line.
Okay.
And you brought it up earlier. I thought you were going to go there a little
There's
bit.
nothing
with-
sexier than bold offensive line predictions, so please continue.
But I think the Colts, for the first time in their franchise history, will have 2 1,000-yard backs. Marlon Mack and
Wow. I like that.
Taylor.
I like that.
Wow. So everybody's throwing that out about the Cleveland Browns, and Chris is like, nope, it's going to be Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor.
I like
You can
that.
have your Nick Chubb and your Kareem Hunt. I'll take Jonathan Taylor and Marlon
Hey, what about
Mack.
Naheem? You got to put Naheem in there. He's
I
a
think
good-
He's the odd man out. He may go out
Really?
there for shotgun
Yeah.
formations, maybe, but
True.
like, he's the odd man
Why
out.
not?
Yeah, he's a good
Slot.
screen. Yeah, a good post and a good 3rd and 2.
All
quick
right.
up the middle. Yeah.
Mr.
All right,
Cruz,
guys. By the
I
way, it's
appreciate
in Los
you.
Angeles, Inglewood, California. Super Bowl 52, February 13th, 2020. Cowboys, Colts. Let's do this.
All right, we will be there. Mr. Cruz, I promise that I will catch up with you very soon, and we will have a barley pop in person, maybe even watching a football game here real soon. Thank you so much for your time this evening, my friend. I
Hey,
appreciate
thanks,
it.
guys. Good talking with you.
All right, we will be out on a little break here, and we will come back, and we have, I believe, the Packers, and I believe we have the Cleveland Browns yet to check in. Stick around.
Nice.
All right, we are back, and it is time to check in on Cleveland's Browns camp. And if we're going to check in on the Cleveland Browns, I can only think of one man that we do it. He's been on the podcast before. He's been excited the past 2 years, and he is still excited this year because the Browns are one of the cream of the crop in the AFC. But I'm worried about their division. Odell Beckham's coming back. So many questions, and with the answers, we turn to Mr. Mark Allen. Mark, hello.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm excited, and also for the listeners out there, I get to see Mark in person here in about a week from taping date when we see the Dead and Company in Cincinnati. I'm excited about that. Mark, are you more excited about seeing me or the Browns season?
You.
I knew it.
Hands down.
You're buttering up to the host on his show. That's a veteran move by you there.
Hey, I know where my bread's buttered.
That's right. Well, but you heard a couple of those things I teased there. What has you more worried this year? Odell Beckham coming back, your tough division. Like, what has you more worried? Because I know Cleveland Browns fans are really, really excited, and we'll get to that in just a second.
I think right now Odell Beckham coming back would be slightly more worrisome, strictly because when he went out in the Cincinnati game last year, the offense started to click, and they just took off. Now, with him coming back, folks are wondering, okay, does he really need to be here? Is he going to screw up the offensive continuity that we had? You know, what kind of, ball distribution is he going to demand? And who's he going to take it away from?
I was about to say he's such a quiet, timid guy too. You know what I mean? That there's just everybody expects him just to walk into the locker room and just go about his business and not have much of anything to say about anything, right? That's what everybody's expecting.
Yeah, that's right. And shockingly, with all of his antics when he was with the Giants, abusing the kicking net and throwing his helmet and all his other outlandish stuff. He really has been a model citizen here. Yeah, he's pouted a couple times, but what diva receiver hasn't?
Exactly. So I'm glad to hear that you guys are a little more worried about Odell than you are about any opponent. So that just speaks to the excitement level there in Cleveland. And I know you've been an Ohio native for a long time. I mean, is this as excited as anybody's been about a Cleveland Browns season in how many years, Mark?
Absolutely. The words Super Bowl come out of everybody's mouth when they talk about expectations for the Browns this year. And it hasn't been since 1980, I think it was 86 or 87, whatever the drive was.
Oh, wow.
Where when they, the whole Denver thing, that, and then the following year where they went to Denver and lost the fumble. Those 2 years were the last time it was really, really, upbeat for a great season from the Browns. And we haven't seen talent on the roster since then, until now.
I was going to say Butch Davis and Derek Anderson would like a word, Mark. Wasn't that was the one Browns team that made the playoffs after the Browns came back, right? Wasn't that the first playoff team the Browns had after they came back?
That is correct, but we also had, the greatest receiver in his own mind, Braylon Edwards. Captain Drop. So
that has nothing to do with him being a Michigan man or anything, does it, Mark?
Could be. But we have Donovan Peoples-Jones on the roster. He's from Michigan, and he catches the balls thrown at him.
That guy's a beast, man. I'm not
Yes,
a
he
huge
is.
college football guy anymore, but I still got to keep up with the Big Ten, being that I live in the Midwest. And that guy was a force to be reckoned with. As if the Browns needed more forces to be reckoned with on offense. Let's stay there for a little bit before we get to I think the sneaky part that's actually going to be the big thing for the Browns, which is that defense was just loaded with playmakers.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think? What do you think we're going to see in that backfield? I know every fantasy football player that's listening to this episode right now is interested from a guy like you who's there inside the beast, right there with the Browns. What do you think is going to happen as far as this tailback distribution goes? Are we going to see real even carries? Is one guy going to get favored, or are both of them just going to get $1,000 and you're good either way you go?
It's going to be pick your poison. They're both. Chubb is going to get $1,000. That's not in question. Kareem Hunt will, with that extra game, get $1,000 on the ground. Hunt will have more receiving yards because he's a better receiver than Chubb.
Oh, know he's going to break a big wheel route at some point with all the different things you guys can do on offense.
He's going to break at least 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And I think with this being the second year in Stefanski's system, it's, what we saw the second half of last year is going to be just unreal. We're just going to keep progressing.
Yeah, you guys were really, really strong at the end of the year last year. Yeah. I mean, I was keeping up through fantasy, and I was just streaming, random Browns guys that I could, and I was just always getting production out of them. And we heard so much about Stefanski last year. You sung his praises on this podcast last year, so I'll let you crow a little bit and tell us what we can expect out of a Stefanski team in the second year. What'd you see from your first, and what do you think you're definitely going to see this year as vis-a-vis the head coach?
We're going to see a higher ceiling as far as play calling and the abilities of his offense. We've got a good quarterback in Baker Mayfield. We have a steady quarterback in Baker Mayfield.
Which I never thought I'd say that, but that's absolutely true with him.
Right. I mean, he's flashing back to his last year in Oklahoma when he was just, a complete stud. Now he's got the offensive line to protect him. He's got plays that get him out of the offense, away from the defense where he can throw those balls that sometimes would get knocked down.
Yeah, his height hurts him sometimes being right there in the middle of the pocket. So getting to the outside is definitely good for him.
That is true. That is true. And then we've got, our receivers room is one of the best in the division, if not one of the top 5 or 6 in the conference.
Oh, I mean, Jarvis Landry's one of those guys that nobody ever likes to talk about, but he's an absolute stone cold solid receiver that every franchise could benefit from having on their roster.
Right. He's the silent assassin.
So I think Stefanski's going to flex his muscles with all those toys he has on offense. But as I teased a little bit back there, I think your guys' defense is actually still going to be the thing because we saw the recipe to success, right? If your team is going to ultimately come out of the AFC, and we'll get to your prediction here at the end, but if they're going to come out of the AFC, they're going to have to beat one Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, right? One of these two really, really good quarterbacks in the AFC. And so you got to get pressure on these guys, and I'd say your Browns can do it.
Yep, that is correct. I mean, and if you look back at the defense from last year, if they stop a tight end, they beat Kansas City in Kansas City.
That's true. People do forget how close that game was. I just had somebody remind me of that on a season preview episode I was listening to of another podcast, which is not nearly as good as this one that we're on right now.
Yeah, thank you. And regardless of that non-interference call that cost the Browns some points, they cover a tight end, they win. They addressed all that with their free agency this year. Picking up, sorry about this, Weaver from the Colts.
Oh, I know. I'm so sad to see him go. You're going to love that guy patrolling the middle of the field. He's just a tackle machine.
Yes, he is. I saw him. I got to see him play for the Colts last year when they were here. That dude he's gonna cause somebody to have some snot bubbles.
He sure is, and nobody's going to be paying any attention to him with those monsters on the outside.
That is correct. You got 2 number 1 picks on the D ends. You got Garrett, and now you got Clowney. Okay, Clowney has never really been in his career, if you look at it, an edge rusher like Myles Garrett. He's been more of a run-stopping defensive end, which is what this defense needs.
Yeah, definitely. Myles Garrett's going to be getting to the quarterback. You don't need Clowney getting in Myles Garrett's way. Help him.
No.
You need him stopping the run.
Right. Who are you going to double team? It's that familiar phrase again. Pick your poison. Plus, you got on the interior line now, you got people with Super Bowl experience. You got Malik Jackson, who won the Super Bowl with the Eagles. You got him. Then you got Weaver in the second line of defense with the linebackers. You've got, JOK.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Goodness, the Notre Damer. How did I forget to bring up the Damer right here in South Bend, Indiana? My bad. Right. Thank you for bringing him up, Mark.
You are welcome. That is going to be how they got him is beyond me. Andrew Berry pulled off a steal of the draft.
I'll tell you why it is, Mark, because it's the combinization of the NFL draft, right? Too often we look at guys, they got to fit in a box. They got to be this tall and they got to have this much weight, right? But you know what else at the combine JOC blew people away with? Was his jumping ability, his speed, his cone drills, all of that. And you give me an athlete every day, especially on that defense that we've already been talking about. All you need from JOC is just to go out there like a man with his hair on fire and make plays.
Yeah, and he's going to be he's the typical sideline to sideline. I will track the ball down. I will hit you, and I will keep doing it all game long.
So there are many reasons to look up in Cleveland. I'm so jealous of you Browns fans this year, which is something people can't say very often. I know no shots, Mark. That's just been true over the years.
That's true.
Normally in Indianapolis, I could be the one saying, hey, it's going to be great to be a Colts fan. And as of right now, I have no idea what to expect out of my team, and I think I know what to expect out of your team. But let's get your ultimate prediction here as we wrap up. What do you think the Browns are going to do? Are you seeing division win? Are you seeing wild card all the way to the Super Bowl? What do you got?
I believe that they are going to win the division.
Okay. Are they going to beat the Steelers out, or are they going to beat the Ravens out? Who's just
They're
going to
be
just
beat
behind
the Ravens
them?
out.
Okay.
They're going to beat the Ravens. it's going to be between us and the Ravens for the
Okay.
division. Then we are at minimum, I believe we're going to go to the AFC Championship.
Okay, I like that. So you're not necessarily saying you're all the way to the Super Bowl, but you like your chances versus either Buffalo or Kansas City, right? Because all you got to do is be in the game with the chance of the Super Bowl.
That's right. And
All
you saw how close we came last year to beating KC. So if we could play with that defense against KC and get that close, then I think with the additions, we'll be fine.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, Mark. I get to see you face-to-face in about a week here from taping, and I will buy you a beer for sure. And then if your Browns start out hot on fire, like 4 straight wins, 5 straight wins, we got to get you back on the podcast, all right?
Absolutely. I welcome it. Look forward to it.
All right, my man. Well, let's we'll meet up at the Dead, and on the other side of a break here, we will be back and we'll close up the NFL Preview Spectacular with a little word on Packers Camp, the drama and the diva that was Packers Camp on the other side. All right, we are back. And to close out our NFL Preview Spectacular, I have a very special guest with me. I've looked forward to bringing him on the podcast many times before. He's always balked at it, and I finally was able to get him here to check in and do a report on Packers Camp for us. He is Nick Georgian, a.k.a. The Greek. He's over at Dewart Lake right now having a good time, but he's taking a few minutes out to talk with us about the Packers. Nick, hello.
How you doing, Rod? Thanks for having me on. I'll talk Packers to anyone who's willing to listen.
Chris is here with us, my buddy from North Carolina. He's going to have some Packers questions for you too, Greek, but I'll start out. This summer, the Green Bay Packers were at the top of every single NFL story that was ever talked about. What was your summer like? Were you following that thing very, very closely, or did you avoid all of the Aaron Rodgers drama this summer?
Hey, look, if I said I wasn't paying attention and stressed out, I'd be lying to you. Of course I paid attention. Diehard Packer fan.
Okay, so what was your thoughts? Were you good with Aaron? Were you mad with Aaron? Were you like, let's get him out of town? Were you like, let's go to management and burn them down? What did you want to see happen?
Well, I just felt that I don't know what he was griping about. Heck, last year he had the #1 scoring offense in the NFL. They made it to the championship game of the NFC. And so I don't understand No, I wasn't on his side.
Okay, so then were you ready to move on from Aaron Rodgers, or were you kind of, hey, I'm not on your side, but I'd still be ready to open you with open arms to come back and quarterback our team?
Man, I was welcoming him back, to be honest with you.
Okay, good. So now, do you think that this drama is going to affect their chances to get back to where they did last year, or do you still think this team's going to be just as good as the team last year?
Oh, I think the team's going to be just as good as they were last year.
Do you think that the emergence of Aaron Jones at running back is going to be part of that reason, or do you think it's going to be the same old Rodgers gunslinging it to his favorite receiver?
Well, I think actually they got a good trio of running backs this year, and I think they're going to use them all. They're all very versatile. Of course, Jones can do it all. Dillon's a bruiser. And Hill's got a great receiver. So I think you're going to see a good combination of all of them.
Well, there you go. Chris, I know for a fact that you're always working the waiver wire in fantasy football. I totally see you. Like, you're going to pick up A.J. Dillon like week 3 and totally expect him to do something for you, aren't you?
I will probably also pick up Randall Cobb.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm a sucker for Randall Cobb in fantasy.
Well, there you go. All right, so do you got a question for the Greekster about the Packers?
So, actually, it has to deal with the receiving core. Do you think that this receiving core is as strong as it has been recently? I know they brought back Randall Cobb, which is great in my mind. I know they have a couple young guys coming up. Do you think that this receiving core is worthy of Aaron Rodgers?
I really do. I think I was a little skeptical about them getting Cobb. But I've been a Randall Cobb fan, ever since he started with the Packers. And I think he's gonna do Rodgers is gonna make him successful as long as he can stay healthy. And Adams,
Yeah,
you can't argue. He's one of the best receivers in the league. And I'm really excited about their tight end group. I think Tanyan's a great receiver. And I think, Valdez Scantling's I think he's going to have a breakout season if he can hold on to the ball.
There's my guy, the law firm. He's another one of those guys that I hold on to all the time for the Packers, thinking I'm like, this is the week he's going to get 2 touchdowns, and then he has 1 catch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if he can stay away from the drops, he can be a hell of an impact for the Packers.
All right, well, we talked a little bit about offense. We know what Aaron Rodgers can do. He's the MVP of the league, for goodness sakes, last year. What can we expect from that Packers defense? Is that going to be an Achilles heel for this team, or is it actually going to be a strength?
Well, I'm a little disappointed that they didn't try to really improve on their cornerback situation. And I was hoping during free agency they'd pick up somebody to pick up the slack for him. Alexander's a great quarterback, but I'm a little worried about their defensive backfield.
And that can be troubling in today's NFL, where basically teams all chuck the ball around the yard. But Chris, I'd say he's okay in the NFC Central, right? I mean, it's not like the Bears are going to be lighting it up in the air, or the Vikings, right? I mean,
Yeah, no, the Packers have there's 2 things about the NFC North. The Packers will be in first place, and the Lions will be in last place. Everything else doesn't matter.
Well, I forgot about that, Greek. You guys are getting 2 gimmies right there when you take on the Lions. They're terrible.
Yeah, but I'm not. I'm a little worried about the Vikings.
Yeah, well, here's
the Packers.
Here's the
could
thing.
do a little bit. The Packers could do a little. Go ahead.
Don't worry about the Vikings. All right, Kirk Cousins could be out for 10 days at any moment. All right, don't worry about the Vikings. They could be without their starting quarterback at any moment due to the protocols. Kurt's made his stance well known, and I think that's actually going to trip the Vikings up. I'm kind of joking here, but I really do believe that's going to trip the Vikings up, and I think it's going to trip up a lot of teams this year. It's kind of the thing that is not talked about, but we all know it's out there. But anybody that's not vaccinated that comes in contact with somebody who has COVID-19 or gets it themselves is going to be out for almost 2 weeks, and that's just going to be a huge thing to deal with this season.
Yeah, that's an unknown factor. With the Vikings, I'm more worried about Delvin Cook.
Yeah, I mean, he's a nightmare scenario.
He killed the Packers last year when they lost that game against the Vikings.
Well, he killed almost everybody, didn't he, Chris? Wasn't he basically isn't he going number 2 on a lot of fantasy boards this year, Dalvin Cook?
Yeah, no, he's a legit top 3 running back in the NFL. And that's one thing, too, that the Packers are going to have to look out for. They have a very, very tough schedule, so they have to win those NFC North games. I think they have to they open with the Saints. They play at Kansas City. They play Seattle at home. They have the Steelers and the Browns and the Ravens on their schedule.
Wow.
Yeah, so they got some tough games.
Yeah, Greekster, that's a murderer's row you got right there, man. I must admit, I didn't look at the schedule. That's tough.
Yeah, I agree. And if you look at last year, there was a handful of games there that could have gone either way. So
yeah, they definitely played a lot of last-minute games.
They did.
But, you got Aaron Rodgers on your side, right? If you're going to come down to a last-minute game, I'll take Aaron Rodgers every time, right? Like if it's schoolyard football, give me that guy.
I'll take him.
All right, Greek. So we wrap up with the same question for everybody. Your ultimate prediction for the Packers season.
I'm predicting 12-4.
Nice. Okay, 12-4. So they're going to walk away with the division. Do you believe
we have 17 games this season, Greek?
Oh, that's right. That's right. We do have 17.
Yeah. 12-5 then.
Okay, there you go. Good. I'm glad that you put an extra loss and you didn't go to 13 wins. I like that. That's probably a smarter move. But now, do you see them making a trip back to the Super Bowl, or do you think they'll maybe only get as far as the NFC Championship?
Boy, that's a tough one. I'm going to go that they're going to make it the NFC Championship game. Whether they can beat, I'm guessing that the Bucs will be there.
I would think so.
So whether they can, beat the Bucs is it's going to be a tough game. The Bucs defense is for real.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. And Chris, I mean, I'd say the Packers got just as good a shot as anybody in the NFC, right? I mean, the NFC's kind of wide open other than the Bucs, isn't it?
I mean, you have the Rams, you have Seattle. So there's some tough ones, and if Dallas stays healthy,
I knew you were going to sneak Dallas.
They're going to be tough too.
I knew you were going to sneak Dallas in there. No, because
Always.
Dallas isn't going to win their division, Chris. The Washington football team is going to win that division. Just
Well,
like the
they're-
Packers are going to win the NFC North.
The Washington football team is also on the Packers schedule this year.
See, Greek, I just keep bringing up these games, and you guys just got all these grenades in front of you.
I know it's going to be a tough year. Health.
All right.
They got to stay healthy. That's the key for every
There you go.
team.
I was about to say that you could say that for every NFL team. Well, Greekster, I appreciate you so much taking a few minutes out on this night to join us and finally come on the podcast. Did you enjoy your maiden voyage on the podcast?
I did, and I appreciate the opportunity.
All right. Well, you get back to whatever fun you guys got going on over there at Dewart Lake. I know you guys party it up over there all the time. I'll be joining you this Labor Day weekend for a little bit of fun. That's the end of this football show. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Chris, thank you so much for joining me on all these different interviews. Chris, what do you want to say to everybody as we wrap up here?
Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys. That's what you want to say to everybody, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this football show is going to be coming at you every Thursday. Me, Chris Williams. And don't forget, on Mondays, you can hear me and Jimmy talking about wrestling. That's what we got planned for you here on the Morgan Podcast Network. Enjoy football. Chris, final word goes to you.
Goodbye, Internet.